Welcome to Daily Hope from Victory Lutheran Church in Mesa, Arizona. I'm Pastor Steve Lien. The last several weeks, as I've been preparing for sermons, I've been spending a lot of time in Ephesians, and recently focusing on the immeasurably more grace that God pours out upon us in Christ. What a delight it has been exploring the wonder and richness of grace. In fact, in prepping for last weekend's sermon, I had over 30 pages of notes, and there was more I hadn't added, including a quote from Frederick Buechner, whose father committed suicide when he was 6 years old, an event consciously or obliquely referenced in much of Buechner's writing. Buechner believes that grace is a subterranean presence that is everywhere present in the lives of human beings. He writes this: "You get out of bed, wash and dress, eat breakfast, say goodbye, and go away, never maybe to return for all you know, to work, talk, lust, pray, dawdle, and do, and at the end of the day, if your luck holds, you come home again, then night again, bed, the little death of sleep, sleep of death, morning, afternoon, evening, the hours of the day, of any day, of your day and my day," and he calls that the alphabet of grace. If there is a God who speaks anywhere, surely he speaks here, through waking up and working, through going away and coming back again, through people you read and books you meet, through falling asleep in the dark. He knows. I love how Buechner always comes around to grace. And in one beautiful passage says that in the midst of all the flaws and fissures and the bedrock harshness of things, there still wells up from time to time out of a deeper substratum of reality a kind of crazy, holy grace. A crazy, holy grace. I love that phrase. And I love Buechner's book by the same title. And I so love the God of that crazy, holy grace that indeed overwhelms or sometimes quietly sustains us day to day. After all this time exploring grace, it somehow seemed just like God that today, the day after I preached my sermon on the immeasurably more grace that God gives, Susie Larson's daily devotional would be on what else? Grace. She quoted Paul's words from God after he implored him to remove whatever thorn in the flesh from which he suffered. And we read this: "Each time God said, 'My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness.' So now I'm glad to boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ can work through me." It's from 2 Corinthians 12:9. And then Susie Larson shared this: "There are seasons where grace abounds, and seasons where God's grace is merely sufficient, just enough for the moment. If you're in a season of sufficient grace and long for abundant, abounding grace, this blessing is for you. May you strongly sense God's nearness in this very moment. May you trust him with the hurts in your heart and the disappointment in your soul. Life won't always feel this hard. God promises this is so. Though you may despise your weakness, God is deeply moved by it, and his power is being perfected in you even now. When you look in the mirror, you may see a tired, weary soul, but heaven sees a warrior, firmly grafted into the family of God, deeply rooted in the love of God, and profoundly called to the purposes of God. Heaven knows your name, and right now, God's grace is enough for you. Stay in your grace space. You'll have what you need to get through this. His power is being perfected in you. God bless you, dear one." Dear friends, have a day infused with God's grace, a crazy, holy grace. That should be relatively easy if you remember, claim, and hold on to the truth, God's own truth, that you are loved and you are never alone.